Welcome, warriors of silence, bearers of pain, those who rise not from comfort, but from the abyss of betrayal, from the weight of what they never deserved. Welcome to the fire where truth burns brighter than lies, where you no longer hide behind apologies that mean nothing, words that cost them nothing, and wounds that cost you everything. This is not a safe speech. This is not a comforting balm. This is fury, forged into clarity. You've been told too long to forgive and forget, to smile through the scars, to be the bigger person. But tonight, hear this clearly. They are afraid, and no apologies can redeem what they did to you. They want to rewrite the past with their regret. They want to polish the knives they used on your back and call them mistakes. But no, you remember the eyes that watched you break, the smirks that bloomed while you drowned in silence. You remember the deliberate nature of it all. It wasn't ignorance, it was choice. And now they knock with trembling hands, offering apologies not to cleanse you, but to relieve themselves. And that is why you must rise, not to forgive, but to remember who the hell you are. Let the world hear it now. Forgiveness is not owed. It is not automatic. It is not the badge of the strong. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not forgive. Sometimes justice is not a smile, but a storm. And you are the storm they never prepared for. You are the reckoning disguised in resilience. You are the voice they tried to silence. And now, you are the echo of their nightmare. Because you survived, you endured, and worst of all for them, you see them now. You see them clearly. They can't hide behind the masks anymore. They want you to believe that time heals, that time erases. But time does not fix betrayal. Time reveals it. Time makes the truth louder. And now, time has turned the table. Every apology they offer is soaked in fear, not remorse. They are afraid of who you've become. They are afraid of the version of you that no longer seeks their validation. They are afraid because they know something you might just now be realizing. You didn't need them. You never did. Your power was never in their hands. They only made you feel weak because they feared your strength. So they chipped away at you, made you doubt yourself, convinced you to settle, to shrink, to silence your fire. But not anymore. Because now you burn. You burn with truth, with rage, with purpose, and they see it in your eyes. The flames they can't control, the heat that no apology can cool. Do you feel it? The way your spine straightens when you stop apologizing for being broken. The way your chest expands when you realize your scars are not shame. They are your armor. This isn't bitterness. This is justice without apology. This is the roar that says, you don't get to hurt me and then tell me how to heal. This is liberation. This is revolution. And this is you. They underestimated you. They mistook your silence for weakness. But silence is not surrender. Sometimes silence is the sound of sharpening steel. And you, my friend, have been forging yourself in that silence. Day after day, breath after breath, until now. Now you walk with thunder in your bones. Now your name will not be whispered in pity, it will be spoken in warning. Because you are no longer the one who pleads, you are the one who decides. You are not waiting for redemption, you are the consequence. Let them choke on their apologies. Let them drown in the discomfort of knowing they can't fix what they broke. That's not your burden to bear. You are not the confessional booth for their guilt. You are not the therapist for their conscience. You owe them nothing, not your time, not your forgiveness, not your understanding. Some things are beyond repair. Some things were meant to be burned to the ground, and you are the flame that lights the match. They thought you'd forget. They thought you'd eventually laugh about it, that you'd move on in the way they wanted. quietly, without calling them out, without making them look in the mirror. But you didn't forget. You carved it into your soul. You carried it until it became your weapon. And now, you stand taller, not despite the pain, but because of it. You are not their victim. You are not their second chance. You are the closing chapter in a book they never deserved to read in the first place. Look around you. Every scar, every sleepless night, every doubt they planted, you turned it into power. And now they see it. And now they run. Because you didn't just survive. You transformed. You evolved into something terrifying to those who thought they'd broken you. They see the version of you that doesn't flinch, that doesn't ask why anymore, that doesn't bend. You became the storm, and storms don't apologize. Let this truth sink into your bones. Not all apologies are sincere. Many are strategic. Many are self-serving. They say sorry, not to free you, but to unchain themselves from accountability. But you are no longer the prison for their shame. You're free, and you don't need their words to build yourself. You are building from something much deeper, something they never understood. Integrity, fire, purpose. This is your moment, not of forgiveness, but of declaration. You are not healing for them. You are healing despite them. You are rising not because they are sorry, but because you refuse to stay buried. You refuse to accept their lies as truth. You refuse to let their shadows define your light. And now you shine with the fury of every buried truth, every stolen dream, every ignored scream, and your light burns. They didn't just hurt you, they dismissed you, disrespected you, devalued you. They wrote you off. But now, look at what you've become. Look at what grew from the ashes. They planted poison, and you became the antidote. They fed you doubt, and you turned it into fuel. They caged your voice, and now you roar louder than they ever dreamed possible. So no, you don't owe them anything. Not even your silence anymore. Speak. Rise. Let your presence remind them of what they tried to erase. Let your success haunt them. Let your strength humiliate their cowardice. Let your existence be proof that they failed to destroy you. You are not here to make peace. You are here to reclaim power. And you are doing it without apology. You are the storm they denied, the reckoning they pretended would never come. But it's here now. You are it. And when they whisper your name now, it won't be with pity or smug superiority. It will be with fear. Because you no longer bend, you no longer beg. And you sure as hell don't forgive what was never acknowledged, never repaired, never earned. So wear your fire like a crown. Let the ashes of your past fuel your rise. Don't look back for their apologies. They were never enough. They never could be. Some things are unforgivable, and that's okay. It doesn't make you bitter. It makes you real. It makes you aware. It makes you dangerous to those who hoped you'd forget. And now, they are afraid. Let them be. Let them tremble. Because you've already won. You see, the truth they fear the most isn't that you remember. It's that you changed because of it. You're not the same soul they tried to manipulate. You're sharper now, harder, wiser. You don't trust easily. You don't listen blindly. And that terrifies them. Because people like that, the ones who feed on control, on silence, on your need for closure, they rely on the old you, the soft one, the forgiving one, the one who blamed themselves. But that version, gone, buried, replaced by something they can't touch. You didn't just heal. You evolved into someone they can't reach with their poison anymore. Let them try. Let them send messages laced with regret. Let them throw around the word sorry like it fixes things. But you know better now. You've seen behind the curtain. You know that some people only apologize because they fear the consequences, not because they understand the damage. And that's why you don't answer the calls. That's why you ignore the messages. That's why you delete, block, move forward. Not because you're heartless, but because you've grown a spine made of truth. You know who they are now, and there's no going back to ignorance. Understand this deep in your core. They fear your clarity. They fear the way you see them now, without the filters of hope and loyalty and desperation. They fear your ability to speak the truth out loud, because your truth exposes their lies. Your strength unmasks their weakness. Your rise highlights their fall. And there is no redemption in that. Only recognition, only exposure, only justice. And this justice, it doesn't wear robes. It doesn't hold a gavel. It looks like you. It looks like the one who was discarded, devalued, left behind, walking tall, unbothered, with eyes that hold storms. This is justice that doesn't seek revenge but shines so brightly that their darkness can't stand next to it. You are the mirror they've been avoiding, the reflection of everything they tried to destroy and failed, because here's the real horror for them. You never needed their apology to rise. You never needed their validation to thrive. You created your own salvation. You forged it through every sleepless night, every choked back scream, every lonely moment where no one came to rescue you. You became your own hero, and now their words mean nothing. Their apologies, too late. Their regret, not your problem. Their shame, let them carry it. You carry something far greater. You carry truth. You carry experience. You carry a power they'll never understand because they've never been on the side of the betrayed. They've always been the betrayers. But you know what it's like to be shattered and rebuild yourself from the dust. They know what it's like to break someone, but you know what it's like to rise from being broken. And that difference, that's the line between them and you. That's the line between regret and rebirth. Feel that power in your chest. That heartbeat isn't just life, it's defiance. It's strength born in fire. You walk with the weight of survival, yes, but that weight is also wings. They thought they could clip them. They thought if they pushed hard enough, you'd never fly again. But you didn't just fly, you ascended. And now they watch you from the ground, pretending not to care, pretending their apologies are enough. But you know the truth. The higher you rise, the more it burns them inside. Let them burn. They had a choice. They could have treated you with respect, with honesty, with love, but they chose deceit. They chose cruelty. They chose silence when you cried for understanding. And choices have consequences. They don't get to erase what they did with a word. That's not how healing works. That's not how accountability works. You are not a story they get to rewrite with a few pathetic lines of regret. You are a story they no longer get to be part of. This is your era now, and it's not built on apology. It's built on truth, on wisdom, on knowing that some people are lessons, not blessings, that some doors are meant to close and never reopen. And those who truly want to make amends, they don't come with words. They come with actions, with humility, with patience. But you know these people. You know they never came with any of that. Only excuses, only self-pity, only fear. Because yes, they are afraid. Afraid that you'll tell your story. Afraid you'll live better without them. Afraid your light will reach places their darkness can't follow, and it will. Because this is your time to expand, to dominate, to own every part of your story, even the pain, especially the pain, because pain was your crucible. It forged you, and now that fire runs in your veins, let the world see you now, not as the person they hurt, but as the person who rose anyway. Let your walk say everything their apologies never could. Let your life be a middle finger to their expectation that you'd stay broken. Let your joy be the loudest revenge. Let your silence say, I don't need to forgive you to be free. You're already free. You cut the cord. You let go. And in that release, you found something more sacred than forgiveness. You found yourself. So don't look back. Don't question your strength. Don't let them guilt you into silence. You are not obligated to carry their shame. You're not required to answer when they come knocking with teary eyes and trembling hands. Their fear is not your responsibility. Their regret is not your healing. And their apologies are not your closure. You are the closure. Your peace, your progress, your power. That's the ending to the story they tried to hijack. Let it echo in their minds. No apology will ever be enough. No apology can redeem what they did to you, because the damage wasn't accidental, it was chosen. And you made a different choice. You chose to rise. You chose to move on. You chose to live fully without needing anything from the people who once made you feel like nothing. And that, more than anything, is what scares them. So walk on, warrior, with fire in your eyes and steel in your bones. You are the product of everything they tried to destroy, and you are magnificent. Let them stay in their cycle of guilt and silence and empty words. You've got bigger things to do, a world to conquer, a soul to honor, and a voice that no longer begs for closure, but demands space. Remember, they are afraid, and they should be. Let's keep going, because your story isn't done, and neither is the fire. You've waited too long for someone to understand. You've begged the universe for fairness. You've looked in the mirror, wondering why it happened, why they turned on you, why they discarded you like your soul didn't matter. But here's the truth you've had to swallow in silence. Not everyone deserves to be part of your healing. Not everyone deserves access to your redemption. Some wounds aren't meant to be healed through reconciliation. Some wounds are there to remind you, not of the pain, but of your power. You didn't get back up just to go back to what broke you. You didn't survive just to entertain apologies that feel more like insults than sincerity. That's not healing. That's self-betrayal. And you don't do that anymore. You don't take the knife out of your back just to hand it back to them. You don't open old doors just because they're knocking with a softer voice. Because you remember how loud their silence was when you needed them most. You remember how heavy their absence felt when you cried behind closed doors, pretending to be strong while falling apart. And now that you've rebuilt yourself, now that you've found footing in the storm, they want access again. No, you've earned this peace. You've earned this clarity. They don't get to step into your light with the same hands they used to dim it. Let them stand in their darkness. Let them sit with their guilt. Let them taste the consequence of their own choices. You are not cruel for protecting your energy. You are not heartless for saying, it's too late. You are not wrong for choosing yourself. They say, people change. But some people only change tactics, and your soul is too sharp now to fall for the performance. You know the difference between remorse and manipulation. You know when regret is real, and when it's just fear wearing a mask. And what they're feeling, it's not love, it's not growth, it's fear. Fear of what you've become without them. Fear that you finally see them clearly. Fear that you might tell your story, because your truth is their exposure, and they know it. They know that for once, they don't get to control the narrative. They can't twist your strength into bitterness anymore. They can't convince others you're overreacting, because your energy speaks louder than their apologies ever could. And your energy is undeniable now. You radiate survival. You shine with resilience. You walk with a presence that says, I've seen hell, and I own the fire. And that's not just inspiring. That's terrifying to the ones who hoped you'd disappear under the weight of what they did. Let them be afraid. Because this version of you, this version doesn't explain anymore. This version doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. This version doesn't dim the light to spare the eyes of those who tried to blind you. No, you are done apologizing for your anger, your silence, your distance, your growth, your boundaries. They taught you the cost of naivety. They showed you what betrayal looks like behind a familiar face. And now, every lesson you've learned has become a weapon in your hands. Not to hurt, but to defend, to protect, to declare never again. You don't get peace by pretending you weren't hurt. You don't get strength by denying your own rage. You don't evolve by pretending their apologies fixed anything. You evolve by standing in the wreckage and saying, I built myself. I did this, not you, not your regret, not your guilt. Me. So don't soften now. Don't turn around. Don't open the door just because they knock, with flowers in hand and a script of apologies they rehearsed for their own relief. You already gave them chances. You already loved them when they didn't deserve it. You already forgave them silently 1,000 times just to survive. Now it's your time to live. Live loudly. Live without apology. Live in a way that makes them realize they never broke you. They built you, because in trying to bury you, they forgot you were a seed. And now you're growing into something unrecognizable, something untouchable, something unapologetically free. No, they can't redeem it. No, they can't fix what they refused to acknowledge when it mattered. No, they can't rewrite the past with a few hollow words. And you don't need their redemption, because you have something better. You have you, your integrity, your evolution, your path forward. And that path, it's sacred now, protected, guarded not by walls, but by standards, not by revenge, but by truth. And your truth is simple. They don't belong in your next chapter. Their apologies are not the ink that writes your healing. Your power is. So walk away, not with bitterness, but with certainty. Let them watch you from a distance. Let them replay their choices in the silence you now hold. Let them realize that when they lost you, they didn't just lose someone. They lost a whole universe they'll never find again. You, my friend, are not the one who needs to make peace with the past. They are, but don't wait for it. Don't hope for it. Don't let the old wounds reopen for the sake of someone else's conscience. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them a seat at your healed table. You don't owe them a damn thing. Because they are afraid, and they should be. They should be afraid of your strength, of your silence, of your standards, of your light, of your future without them. And above all, they should be afraid of the truth that no apologies can ever redeem what they did to you. Not now, not ever. So let them carry the weight. Let them live with the silence that once belonged to you. Let their apologies rot at the doorstep of your rebirth. You've given enough, cried enough, lost enough. This ending isn't cruel, it's necessary. Because closure doesn't always come in words. Sometimes it comes in your refusal to open the door again. Sometimes it comes when you choose yourself over history. And now, your story belongs to you again. Not to those who tried to ride over it with lies, with regret, with rehearsed remorse. You don't need to forgive them. You need to outlive them, and you already are. You didn't just survive, you transcended. You became the very thing they said you wouldn't. Unstoppable, unshakable, unreachable. Not because you hardened, but because you learned. Because you remembered. Because you refused to wear shame that wasn't yours. That's what they fear most. Your clarity, your elevation, your voice. And now they sit in the shadows, watching the flame they tried to smother burn brighter than ever. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure. You, Iditaisha, are the closure, and it's written in every step you take without them. So, walk on with your head high and your heart armored in truth. Let the world see what survival really looks like. Let them wonder how you did it, how you came back stronger, louder, and completely unapologetic. And when they whisper behind closed doors, wondering why their apologies meant nothing, let them. Because they'll never understand. And they don't need to. You understand, and you know now, beyond a shadow of doubt, they are afraid, and no apology will ever redeem what they did to you.